Welcome back to Soul Purpose Leader. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you, everybody. How you doing? Today, I've got an amazing speaker, amazing coach, amazing leader, and I just want you to actually welcome her, as she is one of the kind. And the whole point of this is really coming down to what we want to be empowered. Everyone out there wants to be empowered. Everyone out there wants to be inspired. We'd love to hear the positivity of life, not just the negativity. And it might come to that a lot of people have to overcome the challenges and what's happening to their lives to actually hear that and inspire them to make the goodness of their own lives. Now, today we have an amazing speaker. Her name is Cordelia Ghaffar. She is the emotion opener, transformation, strategic guiding leader to use the darkest and most difficult emotions to show up powerful. So far in 2020, Cordelia Ghaffar has been educated into the Global Library of Female Authors by Ona Miler, and her own book related to her Replenish Me Process will be released later this year. She is also best podcast host of 2019, congratulations, and Hey ACHI Magazine Volunteer of the Year and finalist for Top Influencer and Orator of the Year. She is best-selling co-author of America's Leading Ladies Who Positively Impact the World with Oprah Winfrey and several dynamic women. Currently, she is studying to become a TIB practitioner and a coach in the Harlem Wellness Network. She is now also the official sponsor of She Phoenix Femme Phoenix Limited in South Africa, to advocating for the girl child, teenage girls, young women right to a better education, health and life, SDGI to end poverty, SDG for education, SDG gender equality, and women's empowerment. Oh, mashallah, this is amazing and beautiful journey that you've been, and actually keep growing in it. And that's the fun about this, the whole of this, why we're here. So welcome to this amazing, beautiful woman. Cordelia, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Barke. I'm very honored. I love also the work you're doing. So yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And oh my God, I just want to know where you're from, what country you were born into.
Right. Yeah. So I'm American, born and raised. I chose to become Muslim after becoming a mother, because I thought that that is the best way to. My first child was a girl. Let me just start with that. And I thought that Islam was the best way to raise a girl child. So that is a very controversial answer. I'm sure a lot of people are like, what did she just say? Yeah.
It's interesting, but I wouldn't dismiss it. Everyone has their own calling, and everyone gets to empowered or inspired in a different way, even in a religious way. So that is, as long as that was your calling and you feel this is it, this is for me and for my child or my children, and that is what is it about. So I'm grateful, at least you found that. There's a lot of people who are still lost in the world and they don't know yet. So thank you for that. But please continue.
So, for me, my spiritual journey began when my parents died in consecutive years. And I felt really lost. And I'm the youngest of 4 daughters. And I was home taking care of them, although I had already started my, career and everything, but I wasn't married or anything. So as I started on this journey, I kept meeting Muslims, and my prayer was always, I need to find some direction in life, and and then, you know, ultimately by the time I got married, I ended up marrying a Muslim. And but even with that, it wasn't like, Muslim men can marry non-Muslim women, just so people know. But then the more I learned about Islam, because this was about 5 or 6 years, I saw that, Islam came to the peninsula at a time when women were chattel, baby girls were buried and stuff like that. And it actually was, it elevated women, made them pillars of society, gave them property rights, heritage rights, legacy, lineage, all those things. And, so I was like, oh, okay, well, this is where it's at, you know what I mean? And, so that was like a major draw for me. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm so glad that you're sharing with us. Now, for you, having said that, you gone through your own, you're working at the time, you had your child, and then you've been curious and having this, I want to have this religion for myself, for my sake of my children, but then ending up marrying a Muslim person and seeing that life and feeling the, the goodness of that religion for yourself and for your family. How is that reflected for you as now the way you are to the way you were before?
Right. So I was also already someone who was more alternative medicine leaning, taking good care of my body, being very self-aware and those kind of things. So I just looked to see if there was something of that covered as well. And so, in my bio, it says, I'm now, after 18 years of actually living like this, I'm now studying to become a TIB practitioner, which is basically the using food as medicine, the Islamic way, right? So you may be familiar with Ibn Sina, who wrote the Canon of Medicine, which modern medicine and hospitals and everything are actually founded on. So Islamic medicine has the tenets of, Hippocrates, and it also blends in Ayurveda, it blends in traditional Chinese medicine. So all these different, what we see as alternative medicines and regular herbology are founded in TIB. And so that is like, when I talk about a system of self-nurturing, I've always talked about the tenets of the way you sleep, the way you eat, the way you exercise, your mindset and your mental health. And all this is covered in TIB. So this is like the basis of my Replenish Me program.
Amazing. So that's one of your programs that you do for people. That's beautiful. And also you also go through as an emotional opener transformational strategist. Now this is it the same thing, or are you doing different?
Everything is all, like my whole methodology, Replenish Me, is about self-nurturing basically. And this doesn't mean like, if you work with me, I'm trying to make you become Muslim. It just makes it means that I'm helping you to harmonize life in the best ways that I've found, because, like I said, I was already doing these things. So like for 25 years, I've been practicing like herbology and iridology and those kind of things. But 18 years ago, I integrated this other wealth of knowledge that I had I didn't know previously. And so all of that's in the fold, right? And now I've developed that into what I call Replenish Me, which I offer in forms of like mini retreats. I have one in October 17th, Raise Your Vibration and Be Your Higher Self. I do that in forms of like, personal one-on-one. I have an online program. I have a membership, you know what I mean? So it's like, but all of it's the same thing. It's just, I meet the people I work with where they are.
Yeah. I see. But also you are doing different things as well for the, official sponsor of She Phoenix and Femme Phoenix, and also for the South Africa advocating for the girl child. Tell us a bit more about those areas that you work on as well, please.
Yeah, so Eva Erasini, she is the co-founder of She Phoenix Femme Phoenix, which is in South Africa. And it is, I actually mentor one of those girls, actually I coach one of the girls a couple of hours every month. And I'm also, as a sponsor, I pay for her education. So these are, you know, young girls born in South Africa who ended up being teen moms, which of course they're teen moms in the United States, but the plight is quite different, right, than it would be for someone in South Africa. So, but I give my time, and also a portion of the Replenish Me membership goes to support that scholarship fund for She Phoenix, Femme Phoenix. And I just feel like, what's the point of having a business if you're not giving back, you know? And, you know, yes, right? People pay me to do basically the same thing I'm doing for these girls. But, you know, it's like I'm giving to them from an overflow. So, yeah.
And that's the best way to give, is actually by give back to you, fill up your own cup before you actually share that either wisdom or the gift that you have to other people. And that's the best rewarding you could ever ask for any human being. Now, as a for you as a mother now, seeing the poverty that is happening to this world, and also you are involved with this you know, helping the equality of women empowerment, how does it you know, for your daily life and also the way what you're doing, does it affect you some way, you know, to see how how people can go so far from poverty, and the way we're living in Western country, you know, it's totally different. How does that affect you as a person, or as a woman, as a mother?
I really focus, you know, in America, everyone is just like, oh, you know, when I turn 18, I'm moving out, right? So I don't encourage that with any of my kids, boys or girls, because it, you know, staying with your parents until you're financially stable creates wealth, right? Financial wealth. And so I guess now is yes is to make sure that your children are positive contributions to society. But the other part of parenting that I think a lot of places, even myself, like I'd never considered it before I started this work, was how do I make sure that my kids don't fall off the grid, right? So making sure that they understand the importance of being financially stable, understanding the importance of being emotionally stable, and making the right choices for their legacy, right? So like kind of inculcating the concept of legacy in my parenting. So that's how it affects me. I'm not one of those people that I'm like looking at the world and it's like, oh my God, I'm so worried about my kids. It's like, no, wait a minute. Wait, okay. So that's what's happening out there. To prevent that happening over here, right? We're going to love up these kids and make, you know, as their brains are forming, just plant those seeds about, you got to create a legacy. Because the way I was raised is worry about your reputation, right? Like be a good girl and do the right thing and check all the boxes. That's a whole different mindset. You know, it's almost like a scarcity, fear-based mindset than, you know, teaching and love.
Now, a lot of parents don't have that, okay? They don't think like that. Now, when did you make that conscious decision to say, I'm going to teach my children differently from what I've seen or what I've grown up to? How did that come up for you?
So I ended up homeschooling quite by accident, right? Because I had a job in the beginning, but like I guess, yeah, it was like when I found I was pregnant with my third child, a couple of things happened. I had had a couple of miscarriages between the first two. So I had a little bit of, health problems. And once I sorted that out, pregnant again, that, I'm going to do all the right things. The next thing that happened is the preschool that my older daughter was going to, she was 4 at the time, said that she might have some, I don't know, like emotional or educational gaps or something. And so I said, well, I'm going to stay home this summer because I just found out that I'm pregnant, and, I'm going to spend some time with her, and we'll see in the fall. So as I was home with her, I started researching about homeschooling and observing her and researching about the gaps that they said that she had. And I found that it was just that they were ill-equipped. They had too many kids in their classroom or whatever the problem was. And I said, well, 16 years ago, we didn't have virtual school. You couldn't just log in and download a curriculum. You had to build that yourself. So while I was building my curriculum, I thought, well, let me be very mindful and deliberate about what I'm putting in that, and what other life lessons, because in a perfect world, I'll be doing this forever. And I have been doing it forever, right? What other life lessons can I roll in the mix? So, as I evolved as a mother, as I evolved as a curriculum developer, right? And building, and as I evolved watching and learning their different personalities, I now have 6 kids, right? It just came along, right? With the evolution.
MashaAllah. And how do you keep up? But so are you still doing this homeschooling, or did they go back to school?
Well, 2 of them now graduated, so I'm only homeschooling 4. So yeah, I'm homeschooling.
Wow. I don't know how you do it. And having a job and looking after other things as well. That's amazing. I'm just I have to applaud you, okay, for the job that you're doing, and also being understanding as a parent to teach your children things that sometimes in school they don't teach them, so for as a parent to actually mold them in a way that, like money, like self-development, things that they don't have that in school, now teaching it, and then for that child to grow up in a fulfilled way before the time they are adults, that is beautiful. And so thank you. Oh my goodness, I love that. And I just want to also ask you is that now you home, you're looking after the children.
Yes.
You also have your side business that you're doing as well. How do you manage your time? How do you manage your day to day things? How do you do it?
Yeah. And there is where this is where my whole self-nurturing process came from, right? Because how do you do anything when you got other people to take care of, little bitty people, right? Who are dependent on you. So like from the very, very beginning, I was blessed with that experience of having postpartum depression with my second child. So I got a little, world view of, okay, if I start taking better care of myself, at least, I'll have better pregnancies, right? And then it became, oh, now I have better pregnancies, so if I take care of myself a little bit more, now, the kids will see me taking care of myself, and then they'll take care of themselves. And then I have less responsibility towards them, right? They're more independent. And then it's like, oh, now there's more of them. Great. We're going to teach team synergy, okay? And then again, that gives me more time to myself. Geez, I've got a lot of time on my hands. What am I going to do? So like 10 years ago, after I had my 5th child, or actually during my pregnancy with my 5th child, I started a blog because I had so much extra time on my hands. And 5 years later, when my 6th child was 1, I turned that blog into a book because I had so much extra time on my hands, right? And the beauty of homeschooling is you're in control of your day. You don't have to live on somebody else's schedule, except for those kids that decided that they wanted to be on soccer clubs, right? But other than that, I was in control. So the schedule rolls according to when they wake up, right? So I'm not, you know, like these visions where you see like all the kids at the table and all, yeah, that doesn't, I would never, that's never gonna ever be me. Okay. I'm just, let's be straight. So like the little people, there's two of those ones. They wake up at the same time. We have breakfast together. It's like mommy love and all that. And we do our lessons and boom, boom, boom. Because, you know, at that age, like a couple of hours tops, 3 hours, all they need. They're good. Lunchtime comes, then the tweens wake up. And then we have lunchtime, it's mommy love, whatever, we get them started, but now they're tweens, so they know what they're supposed to do. And the teens roll around a little bit at the end of that. It's like, you know, what you know, because now they've been homeschooling their whole life. So they pretty much, we have that plan at the beginning of the year. They know what they tell me now what they're going to study for the year. And then each day we just have a check-in. So that's how it goes. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's like, you know, it's everything kind of set, and it flows beautifully. And that's the way, it's just magically, really, because other people that will look at this like, how do they do that? So thank you for actually explain it, and the way you make it so easy. And so, you know, it's like, oh, I can do that too. So
anybody can do it. You know, you have to put your mind to it. That's it, really, right? For all things.
exactly, exactly. And now that you are doing all these great things, you've written a book, yes, and you also, is this the book that is going to be published this year?
Right. So I've got these 3 books. There's 3 other books. And then I'm doing, so the books that's coming out this year is the 7th book, but it's my 4th solo book, right? And this book is like the book. This is like the book that I've been meaning to write all the years, you know? So it's going to be really good. Yeah.
What is it about, this book? Why is it so special for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So the title I've come up with that actually is stuck the longest, it's called Detached Love, Transforming Your Heart so that you can transform your mind. And it's about what we just talked about. You asked me like,
which parts?
Is all the parts, all the things, right? So it's like, you know, just how do you show up powerfully by leaning into your emotions? And I categorically break that down, and each chapter ends with, you know, it has an activity, and inside the chapter, I give like a little bit of a story, and then show you like the tips, right? And then it's like, okay, now it's your turn, you do it. And so yeah.
That's amazing. I can't wait. And to bring you back when it's already out so you can talk to us again about it. That's beautiful. And thank you for sharing. Because of what you're doing with your groups, and also with the one-to-one coaching, and the journey that you actually share about your journey and what you inspire other people, where can they find you? Where do you like to hang around?
Yeah, so look, squirrel, I saw something so super precious, but I'm not going to say anything. So I hang out, you know, we met on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn. I have a website also, which is my name, CordeliaGhaffar.com. I have a Facebook group, which is really unique, and that's called Replenish Me Group. And if you're not sure, I don't know that there's any other group called that, but I have in parentheses my name, so if you get confused. And if you're a shy person and you like pretty pictures, you can always just find me on Instagram. And surprise, surprise, it's just Cordelia Ghaffar. So yeah, those are my Oh, right. And I have a YouTube channel if you're like more of a visual, like you want to hear what I have to say and see me move around and see if I'm as cool and calm as I am in this interview, like all the time. So yeah. And so I have a lot of different playlists with my various podcasts over the past 4 years. So yeah.
And what is it, what is it called? The YouTube one?
Uh, Come on now. It's called Cordelia Ghaffar.
I just want you to say
Yeah,
that.
it's my name.
Just in case they
Yeah.
weren't listening, that's all. So they can
Just in
catch
case
it
they were
again.
listening. So yeah, so let's begin again. If you put in the Google search Cordelia Ghaffar, the first thing that will come up is my website, then my YouTube channel, then my LinkedIn profile, then my Facebook. I just did a Google search the other day, and then and then my podcast.
That's amazing. But for everyone else, don't worry. I'm going to put everything on the notes. So you're going to find them there. You don't have to search for her. I will make it easy for you. And for anyone who's listening, again, her name is Cordelia Ghaffar. So all you need to do is just find her. She's there. But yes. And I also want to ask you is that if you have, if this was your last day on earth, and you have this message you want to share to the world, what would that message be?
Just be. Focus more on being, less on doing, and in your being, show up in love.
I love that. My God, it's nice and short and sweet. Beautiful. And it's amazing, really. I love it. And Cordelia, I would like to ask you, would you be willing to actually come back to be here to actually to participate in a panel one day?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I'd love panel discussions. That'd be great. Thank you.
That's amazing. I love that. And is there anything else you want to share with our audience, with our people who are listening? And just as a last thing you want to share with us, please.
Yeah, it's really important that, like, when I talk about love, I want us to be in the habit of first pouring into ourselves, because if you don't have the self-compassion and the self-love, not self-love, like let me just separate that, right? If you don't have self-compassion and you don't welcome love into your heart, then you are going to project the opposite of what you truly desire, right? We all want connection, but you can't have connection if you're disconnected from yourself. So just always look for the joy, how to create joy in your life, how to capture the joyful moments in your day, and hold on to those for dear life. Like, don't, if you have like 1 minute of joy in the whole of your 14 waking hours, and then let's say the other 13 hours are just like you wish you could, replace those, don't worry about the 13 hours. It's okay. Those are lessons. Those are practice. But that 1 minute of joy, that's life. That is the whole life right there. Yeah.
I love that, because a lot of people, they're dwelling on the negative and the things that's actually not working for them. So that is the best advice you could give them, even though it is 1 minute, but that 1 minute can last you a lifetime. And that's what it's all about, in actually restoring that 1 minute. If you can do that every single day, or whatever, how many times it happened, that 1 minute, store it in your head and remember when the bad things are happening in your life, when things are falling off everywhere in the world, you just remember that one thing. Oh my goodness, it's like, amazing.
Yes. Mashallah. It's like, it's the whole life. If you can, if we just, our minds, right? Our memory is, we're at loss every second, really, right? So our memory is really less than it was. So the negative stuff that we choose to remember, we embellishing it, just making it worse. So if you're going to do that, spend your time on the 1 minute, embellish that, make it better. You know, it's like a waste of energy.
That's so true. That's very true. We need to talk about that even more, really, because that is the reality of life. You know what I mean? Because that 1 minute can last you a lifetime, and it can actually help you to see the goodness in this life. And
Yeah.
I think you can be saved as well for that 1 minute, you know, and that is the whole point of this. And it's just beautiful. Thank you so much, Cordelia. You are one of amazing speakers, one of amazing guests been here today. And I'm just, I'm so pleased, and I'm so grateful to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful you asked me on. I was a little bit intimidated, believe it or not. I was like, oh, I'm going to be on her show. Oh my goodness. So yeah.
Intimidated,
mashallah. No, no, no.
Cordelia? What is
Yeah.
this? You scared? What's going on? Cordelia, no. But no, I am glad at least you didn't, you didn't, what's the word? You didn't rejected the invitation. So I'm happy, and you actually been here. So I'm having this one for a lifetime that I can remember as a beautiful thing. And so thank you so much for this, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And for everybody else who's listening today, this is Cordelia Ghaffar. Thank you for listening and watching this video. And I wish her and for everybody else have a blessed evening or day or morning, wherever you are. And I cannot wait for the next speaker. Take care, everybody.